Hello everyone. Welcome to English Guru Canada. Today we are going to talk about the IELTS reading module, and I'm going to talk a little about some of the strategies and tips that you can use to answer the questions. And there are a variety of questions that are asked in the reading module. Today we are going to focus only on short answer questions. We are going to see how to answer the short answer questions. So here I have a few steps that you can follow so that you can get the correct response. The first and the foremost and the most important is to read the instructions carefully because that is where you're going to know how to answer the questions. So whether you have to uh, answer it in no more than 2 words or 3 words or 1 word. And uh, the best thing to do over here is to look for words which are written in italics and or capital letters or in bold. Now, next, you should spend about 5 to 10 seconds to quickly read the questions. Now, these 5 to 10 seconds should be spent wisely to understand what specific information is required. So, is the question looking for a number, a place, or is it a name? So, that's what you have to be careful about. You can underline the numbers, the names, dates, and the words in italics in the questions and as well as in the text. The next thing is to read the question carefully. So, read the first question very carefully with the question, ask yourself, what is the focus of the question? What am I asked over here? What do I have to look for in the text? And then go to the text and identify the relevant text, the relevant part in the passage that would have the answer to the question. And then scan the text for the required information. Here you have to look for details and you might not find exactly the same words in the text as they are in the question. Now you have to look for synonyms or for rephrased sentences. And finally, check if your answer makes sense grammatically. Now, I know this can be overwhelming and this might seem okay, these are some steps that we have to follow, but how do I do that? So I have an example text over here, and I'm going to walk you through how to answer the questions. Here is a sample of a reading passage uh, that you could get in the exam. Now, this is a passage related to the general training version of the IELTS exam, but the strategies and the tips would hold the same for both the academic um, as well as the general version. So let's take a look at the questions that follow this, because that is the first step, not to read the text, but read the questions. So here we have the questions like you would have in the exam. So it says answer the questions below. Choose no more than 3 words and or a number. So what this means is either it can be 2 words and a number or 1 word and 2 numbers. So everything together should not be more than 3. So that's what this means. So let me look at the questions here quickly, like 5 to 10 seconds to glance at the questions. 5 to 10 seconds actually gave me an idea of what the text could be about. Now, my next step would be to underline some words which can actually help me answer the questions. For example, in the first one, I've underlined what, found, fancy foods. So I'm going to be looking for these words in the text. The next one, where, batch number. Question 11, how much, open jar, contaminated chicken curry. 12, if you have eaten chicken curry, whom contact. Question 13, what, maximum reward for information. So let's take a look at these and see how we are going to answer this. So the first question is what, and I'm going to be looking for something found in a product. So let's take a look at it. So I'm going to be underlining or highlighting the text that I think where I can find the information. So going over here, going after the words like found, fancy foods. Then in the second question, I had batch number. Then I had already opened, pay. I have interested to hear people who have consumed chicken curry will pay a reward. So this I have marked from my memory of quickly glancing over the questions. And this is what you should do in the exam itself. You can mark or underline where you find those words. Now, coming back to the first question, what has been found in some fancy foods products? Looking at my first sentence that I have highlighted over here, it says pieces of metal have been found in some jars of fancy foods chicken curry spicy. So I have my signpost word found and fancy foods, there's a name of a product. So pieces of metal, and these are three words, would be my answer to the first question. So I write pieces of metal in front of question 9 because that's what the answer is. Now I read the next question, which is where can you find the batch number on the jars? So I have to look for a place and place of the batch number. So I'll go back to the text, and my second line that I have highlighted is batch number is printed on the bottom of each jar. So I know where, and that is on the bottom. So that is my answer to the second question. So I'll write on the bottom for question 10. Now I can also write the bottom. If I don't put on, that would still be correct, and I would still be within the word limit. Now I'll read the next question and then understand what the focus of the question is. So in this case, question 11 says, how much will you receive for an open jar or of contaminated chicken curry? So I am looking for an amount over here. It says how much, and that says an amount. And then I'm looking for the word opened. So taking a look at the underlined sentences or the highlighted sentences I have, I am going to look for, okay, fancy foods will pay. And then it says $10 for each are returned unopened and $5 for each are already open. So my signpost words are opened and will pay. How much? $5. Now $10 is a distractor over here. They're going to give you those distractors. So you have to be very careful with what you're looking for. $10 is for unopened, and we are looking for open. So which is $5. Now, I would choose $5 again because we do not have the same words exactly as they're in the question. So the text says fancy foods will pay $10, and then we have fancy foods will pay, whereas the question asks how much will you receive. So will pay has been rephrased as will receive. And our answer would be $5 for question 11. And as you see, this is a number, so I'm within the word limit. So if you write $5 as FIVE and then DOLLARS, that would still be correct. Now I'm going to take a look at question 12, which says if you've eaten chicken curry, and then I'm going to look for the signpost word, which is whom, and contact, which means I'm looking for a person. So let's see, or maybe a department. So going back to the text, and my next sentence that I've highlighted is the retailing manager will be entrusted to hear from people who have consumed chicken curry from any of the above batch numbers. So the retailing manager would be my answer. Now here as well, we don't have exactly the same words as in the question. So the question actually asks, whom should you contact? So the word contact is similar to what it says, the retailing manager will be interested to hear. So it's like, who will be interested to hear? Who should you contact? So it's the same thing. And another one is, the text says have consumed, and the question says have eaten. So consumed and eaten are synonyms over here. And my answer over here is retailing manager. Now, if you put the in front of it, you would still be right. It's not the wrong answer. So the last question over here is, I'm going to be looking for what? Maximum reward for information. So I'm looking for something which could probably be a dollar amount or a gift card or something like that. So I'm looking for the word reward, and then the next sentence that I've highlighted here uh, talks about fancy foods paying a reward of $10,000 to $50,000. So there is a range over here, and the question asked is about the maximum reward. Now again, this is not exactly the same wording as it is in the question. So reward of $10,000 to $50,000 is equal to maximum reward. So 2 would be equal to the word maximum. So this is a synonym. So up to, minimum is 10,000 and maximum is $50,000. So my answer is going to be $50,000. And I've written it over here, $50,000. Now you could also write it in words, or you could write a number like I've done. So remember, uh, to read the instructions carefully, to understand what specific information is required, to read the questions carefully, to identify the relevant text, and then you have to scan the text for the required information. You have to look for details. Keep a watch or keep a lookout for synonyms and rephrased sentences. And finally, check if your answer makes sense grammatically. I hope this has helped you. Good luck with your exam and with your learning English. Now, please provide your feedback and comments and like how I can improve my videos. Now, keep learning with English Guru Canada, and you could also enroll for our online classes at the website here. Thank you.